Hey, this is kind of different from the content that I normally do, but that's because I wrote a whole freaking 12-page Hexbug research paper document. Because, duh, what else am I gonna do with my time? Well, this video here is kind of, well, accompanying that. This is gonna be kind of like a whole transcript. Like, I'm not sure if transcripted is the right word, but like, this is basically going to be that paper in video form, because why the hell not? Hexbug documentary time, I told you I'd do it, Ben. This video is going to be a kind of read-along version for that. So, the link is in the description if you'd like to check out the whole Hexbug paper and read along, and enjoy this shit. Studies and Observations on the Hexbug Nano, authored by Philosopher C, God of Destruction and Head of the Shelf Cortex, assisted by Velocity19, Shelf Cortex Lead Researcher, peer-reviewed by Philosopher, local Sylveon, awaiting further review. Hexbugs, everyone's favorite little vibrating agents of chaos. Kingdom, Animalia, Phylum, Arthropoda, Class, Order, Family? I don't know. Genus, Hexbug. Species, Nano. Appearance. The Hexbug Nano, often referred to simply as Hexbug, is a small organism approximately 1.75 inches or 4.5 millimeters in length, half an inch or 1.3 millimeters in width, and usually 0.5 inches or 0.8 millimeters in height. This currently unclassified organism weighs about 7.4 grams. They can easily be identified by their unique body shape. Their anatomy is split into two segments, the head and the body. The bugs have a hard exoskeleton, along with rubbery flesh on their backs and sides, which is theorized to act similarly to human skin, in that it delivers sensory input to the bug's nervous system. Most hexbugs, aside from their shape, look quite different from each other and can come in a variety of flesh/exoskeleton color combinations. Additionally, each bug has an array of possible patterns that can manifest on their backs. Origins. The origins of the nano species are not entirely clear. There have been claims that they come from a planet outside our solar system, though the earliest they can be definitively tracked back to is 2011, when a company called Innovation First began distributing the species across the North American continent. While they still do to this day, their efforts have become much less prominent. The Innovation First company has been reached out to on this matter, though as of right now there's been no reply. Though due to their efforts, the hexbug can be considered an invasive species on the planet it inhabits. However, unlike other invasive species, hexbugs surprisingly haven't interrupted ecosystems and food chains, well, for the most part. Their current biology and behavior suggest that hexbugs originate from a dark, isolated ecosystem, and one where very few were above them on the food chain in order to keep them in check. Classification. It is easy to see why there are many disputes over the classification of the nano species. As of writing this, the taxonomy of the nano is not yet clear, obviously. There are also disagreements over whether or not nanos meet the widely recognized criteria of life. Hexbugs have not been seen growing nor reproducing, and it's doubted if they maintain homeostasis. Interestingly enough, while nanos' position among other living things has been very much argued over, it is found that they perfectly fit into the Royal Opal System criteria of life, aka the ROSCL. However, it is to be noted that Yolk-White System's understanding of life is very different from that of Earth's, and that most living organisms in the system are also artificial. The life of a hexbug. Behavior. The average Earth hexbug nano seems to live a somewhat passive existence. Said existence consists of days-long periods of sleep interspersed with short intervals of high activity and energy. During these intervals, hexbugs are likely to scurry around their environment aimlessly, as well as cause havoc whenever possible. They don't appear to have vision, and it's hypothesized that they sense the world and their surroundings by simply bumping into them. This makes the usual hexbug quite vulnerable to predators, especially those that can cover short distances easily. This suggests that the hexbug's native ecosystem was an isolated one without many predators, or at least one where they were somehow at the top of the food chain. The lack of eyes can also mean that they once lived in a lightless environment. This hypothesis is further reinforced by the existence of some bioluminescent varieties of hexbugs. Interesting. The average hexbug appears to survive eating a diet of very little and have only been observed consuming 357 button cell batteries. They can subsist on a singular battery for an indefinite amount of time, which depends on their rush/activity balance. How they consume these batteries, that's in contrast from what one might expect. A nano's mouth is not on their head. Rather, it is an opening that leads directly into its stomach cavity. Nano will push batteries into a secure location where they can safely open their undersides and feed themselves. Yes, they legit have a freaking stomach mouth. Lifespan. As of yet, no hexbugs have been recorded as dying of old age. It is very much possible for a hexbug to sustain injury, and likely enough of said injury could kill them. Death could also come in the form of being eaten by a predator. The higher than average length of a hexbug's lifespan, at least compared to other organisms of its size, have to do with this very robust and strong exoskeleton. Another theory is that their energy-conserving lifestyle can play a huge role in this. Aging. Hexbugs do not appear to show many natural signs of aging, if any. The most obvious hints to a hexbug's age will be the injuries they sustain, which, more often than not, can follow them for life. Many injuries come in the form of tears of their outside sensory tissue and/or legs, as well as damage to their exoskeletons, though this is rarer. A hexbug can also gradually experience slower movement. This phenomenon isn't linearly linked to age, though can sometimes allude to it. While this condition, called progressive speed degradation syndrome, can eventually reduce a hexbug to a comatose state, treatment at any time will lead to a full recovery in normal circumstances. Reproduction. Not much is known about hexbugs in terms of reproduction. From the shelf cortex studies thus far, any sexual organs have not been identified in the specimens observed. No sexual dimorphism has been observed in the hexbug species either. The cortex's theory as to why this is that hexbugs could reproduce similar to bees, where there's a singular queen, as well as many drones who donate genetic material to contribute to the next generation. The only issue with that hypothesis is that no queen hexbug has been identified thus far. There's also the theory that hexbugs reproduce asexually. However, this claim also has no proof to back it up either. I was going to make a comment on this little paragraph section here, but I got nothing. Let's continue. Habitat. Out in the wild. Hexbugs are almost never recognized in the wild. In an incomplete field guide by R. Quinones, the author claims to possess data of mutant nanoswarms being found largely in the United States and Canada, as well as smaller populations in Europe and China. Galileo populations have also been identified by the author in the United States and Russia, as well as in smaller quantities in China and Western South America. Quinones also claims to have identified nanoswarms in the wild, who have managed to build underground colonies in which they reside at daytime. This is backed up by a more complete nano field guide published by the team distributing the nano species across the globe. Interestingly, these nano colonies resemble the artificial hives mentioned here in the paper. The Hexbug Company also released a collection of short documentaries on their official YouTube channel, the Planet Hexbug series. The series details the lives of various species on what seems to be their home planet. One of said species, the Nano. When in an environment the Nano evolved to withstand, one with competitors closer to their size, the Nano reigns supreme. They are the apex predator of Planet Hexbug. While as of yet, humans are still the dominant species of Earth, we may want to be cautious if we wish to keep that title. Nano have evolved quite a lot in their short time on this planet, and without our diligence, they may take their throne at the top of the food chain. So yeah, that's warning. Hives. Due to being inept at living in many ecosystems, hexbugs flourish in domestic environments where they can be monitored and kept out of trouble. Along with hexbugs, the Innovation First company distributed habitats well suited for the clumsy, troublemaking organisms. These habitats were often referred to as hives, tracks, and even simply habitats. These hives come in modular, walled, hexagonal shapes, meant to interconnect with each other into various designs, because hexagons are the bestigons. In the hives, hexbugs are able to rest safely, as well as scurry without worry when their waking hours hit them. Predators. The hexbug's ideal habitat is one home to their species alone. Hexbugs likely evolved to be suited to a relatively safe environment, therefore had no natural predators. However, even their now domesticated existence, the hexbug isn't at the top of the food chain, at least compared to other Earth species. Common threats to an unsuspecting hexbug may include the common house cat, as hexbugs easily fit the bill for just the kind of creature Cat would hunt. While any dogs that have interacted with the hexbug eggs at the shelf cortex have shown avoidant reactions to the hexbug species, no dogs were harmed in these tests, it isn't a guarantee that all dogs will leave hexbugs alone. Therefore, it is advised that the best home for a hexbug is a closed-off one with no unpredictable hazards.
Don't mind the messy desk. I've been crafting in between editing a little, so yeah. I was gonna continue from here, though, that would have been like 20 more minutes of recording, and I don't think I'm up to that. Though, yeah, this is gonna be divided into 2 parts. You can still read the whole Hexbug paper below in the description if you want to, but, until then, I'm gonna freaking wrap this up here. Hope you liked what you saw. If you want to see more stuff that I'm doing, you can always check Twitter or Instagram, I guess. I'll have that in the description too. And I may try doing a couple more things before I hop back into my Hexbug thing. I do want to get back into some customizing. That'll be fun. But yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye!